Thanks for joining me, everyone. Just 2 days into his presidency, Donald Trump has announced a multi-billion-dollar investment in artificial intelligence. Here to contemplate the implications of that is Ed Dowd, former BlackRock investment manager and more recently a commentator on many subjects. Ed, thank you for joining me.
Great to be here, Neil. Thanks for having me on.
Some weeks ago, you and I spoke, and amongst other things, you said during that conversation that in the context of the incoming administration in the White House, that you needed to see, well, let's say you might want to phrase it differently, but I interpreted it as you wanted the cancellation of the mRNA platform, let's say until further notice. This announcement that Donald Trump has made, Larry Ellison of Oracle Corporation stepped up to the microphone and made much of the potential of AI to design personalised mRNA vaccines that a person might take to prevent the onset of cancer, to which artificial intelligence suggests they might be susceptible. It's all very interesting stuff. The project's called Stargate. How did you react to that in the context of your caution, to put it mildly, around mRNA?
I put out a post on X and I did some research on this announcement first before I popped off. I attacked the announcement and AI and the fact that I don't think the Trump administration knew what they were getting into when this press announcement was released. It was basically, in my humble opinion, a kissing of the ring by Larry Ellison and Sam Altman. They know the political winds have changed, and it'd be interesting for your audience to know that this project actually had already started under the Biden administration. It started last year. They've already broken ground on 10 data centers, so it was well underway. They haven't even come close to the $100 billion that they've committed initially. And the other $400 billion was what I call just fanfare PR announcement. It's never going to materialize. And then Larry gets up there, and I think he spoke off script. And Larry's a consummate salesman. When I was a software analyst before going to BlackRock, I'm familiar with Oracle and Larry's tactics. Larry, back in the day when there were other database companies he was competing against, he didn't necessarily have the best technology. He was the best salesman. And he would, when his competitors would announce new technology products, he would announce the same one saying they were even better. We called it slideware. He would put it up on a slide. Then he would tell his coders to now go write the code. So, and what that would do would be to stall the market and allow him to, advance. So he's a sales, and this AI is. This fantasy that AI is going to create a individualized mRNA vaccine is just insane and ridiculous in its fantasy land. AI is great for some things. It's a nice tool. It's not really pure artificial intelligence. My partner, Carlos Alegre, who's a PhD physicist, has looked at AI. He says it's basically a very advanced language, very fast language compiler. And that's all it is at the moment. So all these billions of dollars of investment remind me of the dot-com boom, way ahead of itself. And AI surely over the next 5 to 10 years will advance, but right now it's not ready for even what Larry said. So this was two oligarchs, Sam Altman of OpenChat, ChatGPT, and Larry Ellison going to kiss the ring, and their purpose is to get federal funding alongside their private investment. Now, Trump hasn't committed anything. So in my humble estimation, it was a disaster PR opportunity for Donald Trump. He didn't realize the blowback he would get. X went crazy. My post went viral. Other people had viral posts. The backlash from the supporters of Donald Trump, a large portion of which were single issue voters, voted for because of COVID, the lockdowns, and the vaccines and the mandates. So I think the message was received loud and clear. So I'm not at this point ready to indict the Trump administration. They have more time. Bobby Kennedy hasn't been confirmed, but it was definitely not good to see. And it was, in my humble opinion, it was the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard come out of Larry Ellison's mouth.
Do you think that in that context then, do you think that Donald Trump would even have predicted that, given the access to the microphone, that Larry Ellison would have gone straight to mRNA, which, as you say, the mere mention of that acronym for millions of people is pricks up ears, and not in a good way. Do you think Trump was advised that Larry was going to say, oh, and right off the top, we're going to have artificial intelligence designed mRNA personalized vaccines?
I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say that Larry was doing what Larry does, hiking. And Larry obviously has been sheltered on his island in Lanai. He owns the island of Lanai here in Hawaii. He clearly doesn't know how to read the room. He clearly hasn't gotten the memo that there's been excess deaths, disabilities, and countless injuries. So he's an oligarch living in a bubble. I think he has no idea what he said, and I'm sure he figured it out pretty quick.
To what extent do you feel that we are being railroaded in the direction of the desired utopia and financially very, very rewarding utopia of the tech oligarchs? You know, the artificial intelligence, you're saying that you're speaking to people that say at most at the moment it's just very quick at scanning the available data and putting together sentences that sound like the best and most exciting distillation of the available knowledge. Is it, Neuralink, everything that Elon Musk seems to be standing for, very pro-emerging of the human and the technological? Is there just an inevitability about it, a black hole drawing towards it, everything, including us?
Us blokes hate talking about a little thinning up top, and many of us settle with that balding look, but that wasn't for me, and that's why I went to Elite Hair, the world's leading hair loss clinic, and now I've had over 4,000 new hairs added to this barnet, and very soon I'm going to be rocking some brand new flowing locks, and you can too. So how does it work? Step 1, I sent the team a set of photos of my head. Step 2, I then spoke to one of the Elite Hair staff who looked through my photo submissions and worked out a treatment plan for me. Step 3, Elite Hair then organised accommodation and the treatment. I was at their state-of-the-art treatment centre in Istanbul, and their incredibly kind staff took me through the process, and before I knew it, I was in surgery. Elite Hair and their leading medical experts have specialised in pain-free treatments using the sleep deep method, and they really mean that. I felt incredibly relaxed the whole time, and I haven't felt any pain since. Check out Elite Hair using the link in the description. When you do, Elite Hair will provide you with a free personalised hair analysis. Then you'll join over 100,000 happy patients. Hit that link and start your hair growth journey like I did today.
Well, I put out a post last night. Apparently, there is a bill in Congress to allow AI to prescribe drugs and be considered a practitioner in certain states. So things are moving fast, and obviously, we need some sort of human oversight of this technology. What I would like to see is the opposite of what was going on under the Biden administration. Mark Andreessen has whistleblown and said that when he was in discussions with the administration, they said, don't invest in AI. There's going to be one or two companies and the government's going to control them. The good news is everyone's aware of that now, and there seems to be lots of competition. So the answer here is lots of different AI companies, lots of different competition rather than a monolith. And, the good news is there seems to be a battle amongst the oligarchs. Elon Musk came out and exposed through other people's research Sam Altman's anti-Trump tweets. So Sam Altman went to D.C., kissed Trump's ring, changing his tune, but it's been discovered that he was one of the most active participants in trying to get rid of Trump going into 2020 and the lawfare and whatnot. So I'm optimistic that competition will least slow down the monolithic dystopian future that we all fear. And I don't want to be a neo-Luddite and fear technology, but I also am a realist and understand that, the hype around AI is way ahead of itself. The way I think this is going to play out is much like the dot-com boom. There was a lot of overinvestment. There was a crash. And then eventually other companies emerged from the rubble, like Facebook, Google, a lot of different companies rose from the ashes of the dot-com. I think that's what we're going to see here. We're going to see a lot of hype, stranded investment, because there's no revenue model for AI. No one's making money. So there's been billions of dollars of investment in a technology that doesn't have revenue streams, really. And so what I suspect is going to happen is there'll be overinvestment. Pricing will crash because of this overcapacity. And then, 3 to 5 years from now, there'll be AI companies formed that take advantage of this low pricing. Because right now, it costs a lot of money for this AI, but there's no revenues to, recoup the investment, so to speak.
Given the absolute popularity out there, I mean, my kids talk about it and use it, the likes of ChatGPT, that it's not making money. What will it take? What would it take for artificial intelligence to become a lucrative revenue stream?
Well, I think we have to worry about what happened with the social media companies. They were free at first, but they really weren't free. Anything that's free is you're the product. So we create data. Everything we do creates data. So AI needs constant data feeding. And I read recently that all the available information on the internet has been scraped by AI, and it needs more data. So that's why they want to get it into everything. They want to get it into every human interaction, that possibly conceivable, to keep feeding the beast, so that then they can use that data for other things they can monetize later. It's the selling of the data to do other things, I think, is where the business models are going to come from. So we have to worry about the AI 2.0 companies, that, in my humble opinion.
A wise man said, we're living inside the corpse of a whale. There's been plenty to eat, but only because there was a whale. And I always think about that in the context of artificial intelligence, because it sounds as if it's just a very, very quick way to look at the sum of human endeavor and distill from it essentially what is a rewrite of something that somebody else wrote or a few people wrote in disparate parts that AI can pull together. And that, as you say, if you're not paying for it, you're the product. People are generating content and putting it into, say, ChatGPT or into artificial intelligence. And it's almost like a confidence trick to some extent. It's fast. It's incredibly quick. But is it actually genuinely doing anything new at the moment beyond doing what it does very, very quickly?
Well, there was a whistleblower in OpenAI who was recently, quote unquote, suicided. And what he discovered was that ChatGPT was violating copyright law and was basically stealing things. And that business model doesn't work. And that's why I think he, quote unquote, was suicided. Because, billions of dollars worth of copyright royalties need to be paid if that's true. And I personally believe it is. So the business model breaks down if they can't steal everything. And that's what this whistleblower was saying, that the open to ChatGPT was basically stealing copyright material. The thing to think about long term with AI is it needs constant data. I think Elon's purchase of X and then creating his own AI, which is called Grok, is a brilliant move on his part, because I think he's shut out the other AI engines from scraping X's data. So Grok, I personally use Grok as a search tool now, and I think it's pretty good. I mean, I approve of using it for myself, but I also know the implications of the long term, because I'm feeding the beast with my posts if you post on X, you're feeding the beast. AI long term is going to be a tool. We need to look at it as a tool, and it's going to become a tool to eventually be monetized, and that's going to be us. So we just have to be cognizant of what we're doing. The company that's most fearful of AI is Google, and I'll tell you why. I'm 57, and I use Grok now to do all my search functions. It's a better search tool than, the old days, Google it. If you wanted to do research on, you would do that. You would type in different key phrases. It was laborious, but, if you were asked the search engine the right questions over time, you could figure things out, but it was laborious. Grok is, and ChatGPT and these other AIs are a better search tool. This is ultimately going to attack Google's revenue stream. Google's biggest revenue stream is the search function and all the advertising dollars they get from it. They destroyed the newspaper business in its early days. And now OpenAI and ChatGPT, Grok, Persistency, other AI vehicles are going to destroy Google's revenue stream over time. Because, I have a lot of millennial friends. They don't Google anymore. They use AI search exclusively now. So this is a death knell for Google, in my humble opinion.
I mentioned at the top my ears pricked up at the mention of mRNA in the White House within 2 days of the incoming president. And I also said that you had said in a previous conversation that we had together that it was a red line for you, that you needed to see the administration take action against it. You already said rightly that Robert Kennedy Jr. is not. Let's just say he's not perhaps in a position to be active. He's maybe in some sort of holding pattern at the moment until he's either accepted or not. But where are we then? Do you think, having heard mRNA mentioned, however accidentally, however unexpectedly by Larry Ellison in that context of Stargate, but given that red line of yours and mine, I would have to say, to hear the acronym so soon, are you troubled?
I'm troubled. I'm giving the benefit of the doubt, and that's why I did research first before I lost my mind. I like to go, control my emotions, because when I saw it, my emotional, flares went off. But then I calmed down. I read the article, realized, and having been on Wall Street, I realized this is two oligarchs who are against Trump, kissing Trump's ring. Maybe mistakenly mentioned mRNA, but Neil, I'm not going to give the administration tons of rope. If we don't see movement on this in the first 6 months of this administration, I become loyal opposition, and I start going very active, loud, and then I started accusing of what I potentially think could happen. That there was potentially, and I had no proof. This is a thesis that there's so much dollars at stake. We have a $5 trillion annual spend in the U.S. on healthcare. We have $18 trillion from the S&P 500 in the GDP. They mandated the vaccines. We have the pharmaceuticals. So there's so many dollars that were and industries that went along with this scam, that it may be if you do pull the mRNA platform into the vaccine, the liability floodgates open. So there is a lot of pressure on the Trump administration to kind of memory hold this. I don't know if they're going to do that yet. I already know the setup and the influence of this money. And if I see that, I'll call it out, and then, we'll have a whole new battle.
What about the fact that Bill Gates has been out there saying that he enjoyed a 3-hour conversation with Donald Trump, and they talked about vaccines? And obviously we know that Donald Trump was very enthusiastic about Operation Warp Speed, and and was quick and happy and enthusiastic about taking credit for rapid rollout of so-called vaccines. How would you interpret that from Bill Gates? How would you fold that into the bigger picture? Because Gates has made no secret of the fact that this is the vaccines are the most lucrative return on investment that he's ever been involved with.